What's up guys, it's Eric from Rare Candy, and today I'm back at you with another deck profile that we have from Steam Siege. This is the same deck profile that was featured in our testing rounds video against Mega Gardevoir that Marcus played. So if you haven't seen that, I'll definitely be sure to put a link for you guys to check that out as well. So for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Volcanion EX. This is a new archetype that Steam Siege is giving us that it's been getting a little bit of hype. So we definitely wanted to try this out and see how this guy stacks up. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So for one of our main attackers is going to be the new Volcanion, not the non-EX one. So this guy's pretty cool. He's pretty similar to Yveltal from the one with Oblivion Wing. The attack has actually kind of a mixture between Oblivion Wing and Geomancy from Xerneas. So it has the attack Power Heater. For just a single fire energy, it does 20 damage. And you choose 2 of your bench Pokemon and attach a fire energy from your discard to each of them. So this is pretty cool. It allows you to start setting up your attackers for future attacks in the game. So between things like Ultra Ball and Scorched Earth, it should be pretty easy to get these fire energies in the discard to reuse with Power Heater. And then it also just has another attack for 3 fire energies, just does a vanilla 100 damage, nothing special there. So he's going to be one of our main components of the deck. He's going to help power up our attackers. So next up we have for Volcanion EX. This is another one of the new big dual types that Steam Siege is going to be giving us. And so it's fire water type, and it's probably most interesting for the ability. So it has the ability Steam Up once during your turn before you attack. You can discard a fire energy from your hand, and basically what it does, it buffs your basic fire Pokemon's attacks by 30. And this ability stacks too if you have multiple Volcanions. So you can see the clear synergy between the 2 different Volcanion cards. So you can discard energy out of your hand with Steam Up, and then you can just re-accelerate that energy onto your board with the baby Volcanion's Power Heater attack. And it'll also do more damage too. So definitely a cool thing they have going on there. And then Volcanion EX also has an attack called Volcanic Heat for 130 damage for 2 fire energies and a colorless, and then this Pokemon can't attack on your next turn. So that is a little annoying, to be honest. Preferably, we're going to want to use this guy to clean up knockouts, and we do have ways to get around this effect that is on Volcanion, but typically we want to soften up our opponent with Power Heater, and then come in and use this attack to kind of clean up knockouts. So, we do have one other attacker in the deck. That's going to be one of the Combat Blaze Entei from Ancient Origins. So, this card's cool. It has the attack Combat Blaze for 2 fire. It does 20 plus 20 more for every bench Pokemon your opponent has. And I really like this card just because it gives you another attacker who can do decent damage for only 2 energy as opposed to 3. And it's a non-EX as well, so that's always good. So 120 hit points and only gives up 1 prize is a basic. It just seems good. I really like this as a backup attacker. And if you've seen our testing rounds video, this guy is actually an MVP of one of the games that we played. So I am liking Entei so far in our testing. And then also just to round out our Pokemon, it's just going to be 3 Shaman EX, just to help us get set up the ability that it has. Lets you draw until you have 6 cards in hand. Onto our trainer cards, we're going to be playing 4 Blacksmith. That seems like such a heavy count of a non-draw-based supporter, but it's definitely good in this deck since we discard fire energy so many ways, and we have alternate ways of drawing cards in our deck. So we have things like Shaman EX, and we also play Scorched Earth in this list, which we'll get to. So we have other ways to kind of supplement our draw power. But this is nice because it lets you power up your attackers out of nowhere. So if you go second, you can potentially attach to a Volcanion EX and Blacksmith in the same turn and do 130 right off the bat. So it's definitely a good card. Blacksmith is great here. So we also play 3 Professor Sycamore. It's our other main form of draw power. Discard your hand, draw 7. Great for obvious reasons, and discarding cards is actually a good thing because we can put fire energy in the discard to reuse later with Volcanion and Blacksmith. So 1 copy of N. Each player shuffles their hand to their deck and draws equal to the amount of prize cards they have left. So this is good, just a little bit of alternate draw power, and it's kind of a disruption card in the later portions of the game. So we have 1 Hex Maniac, just to shut off item cards. This deck is very item reliant, so I think it's good to shut off things like Trevenant, Vileplume. There's other decks with abilities as well. Just generally a really good card. If Pyroar becomes popular, I don't know if it will, but if it does see play for the Worlds format, this could also be useful against that as well. Next up we have 1 Lysander, so switch your opponent's active with one of their benched, just to help you choose what knockouts you want to take. 1 AZ, so it lets you pick up one of your Pokemon, discard any cards attached to them. This is cool because we can kind of heal our Pokemon, and even though we discard the energy that's on them, we can just get it back later with Blacksmith. So, not a huge deal. And also, the retreat cost of all of our Pokemon are kind of clunky, so we might be in an instance where we need an alternate way to retreat, and AZ can provide that for us. And then the other supporter we're going to play in this deck is going to be 1 Pokemon Ranger. So this is a new supporter that we have from Steam Siege, and it removes any effects that are in play at the time on your opponent's Pokemon or on each player. So most importantly, this is good against Jolteon EX. All of our attackers are basics, so if our opponent does get a Jolteon EX active and start attacking with it, we really don't have any other good ways to deal with it. So it lets us get around Jolteon, lets us get around Regice, and also we can use it on ourselves too. So Volcanion EX normally can't attack after using Volcanic Heat, but if you play Pokemon Ranger the following turn, you can actually attack again, so that's pretty cool. So I really like Pokemon Ranger in this list. And transitioning into our item cards, we have 4 copies of Versus Seeker, just to reuse all of our supporters the max amount of times possible. 4 Ultra Ball. So, Ultra Ball is great because we can search out any Pokemon in our deck, and also put Fire Energy in the discard to use with Blacksmith and Volcanion later. 4 Trainer's Mail. Again, it's just another good consistency boosting card that'll let us draw into the trainer cards that we want. So look at the top 4 cards of your deck, pick a trainer card, and put it in your hand. 1 Battle Compressor. So some people might gravitate towards playing a high count of these, but to be honest, I think we have so many other ways of discarding energy in this deck that I really didn't feel like a heavy count of this was necessary. But having said that though, it definitely has obvious synergy in this deck. So it lets you search your deck for 3 cards and discard them. So we can put Fire Energy in the discard to reuse. We can also put some of these one of supporters that we want to reuse later with Versus Seeker in our discard. So I think 1 is just fine. You could debatably go up to 2, but I definitely wouldn't go any higher than that in our testing so far. So next up we have 1 Startling Megaphone. This is really good. It's mainly to get rid of Fighting Fury Belts. That way we don't have to overextend as much with multiple steam ups in order to take knockouts. So if we have like a Muscle Band or Fighting Fury Belt on our Volcanion EX, that way we'll only need one more steam up to take a knockout, as opposed to maybe 2 or 3. So I mean, it's good against other things too. You can get rid of Float Stones, Muscle Bands, Burst Balloons if you hex your opponent's Trevenant deck and then play Megaphone. So I like the 1 Megaphone so far. 1 Professor's Letter. This is nice because it lets you get 2 basic energies out of your deck. So you can maybe attach 1 per turn and discard the other with Ultra Ball or with Scorched Earth. And also, or maybe you have an attacker powered up already. You can Professor's Letter and you steam up twice with 2 different Volcanion EXs. So definitely a good card here. And then we also play 1 Energy Retrieval. Kind of the opposite effect. We get 2 energies from the discard, but it's good for all the same reasons that Letter is good. Let's see. We also play 1 Escape Rope as well. So this is another card that allows us to get around Jolteon, because Jolteon would give us a bit of a problem. Same thing with Regice. And playing this lets us get around the effects that those Pokemon's attacks do. It's also good just because, like we said, all of our Pokemon's retreat costs are kind of clunky to work with outside of Shaman. So we definitely want alternate ways to switch out of the active spot when we want to. So for our tool cards, we have 2 Fighting Fury Belt and 1 Muscle Band. So I'm playing the split just because the math for different EXs will work out differently depending on the tool that you use. So let's just say you're going against Yveltal EX. You probably want to use Fighting Fury Belt because Volcanion EX normally does 130. Fury Belt bumps you up to doing 140, and 1 Steam Up will let you knock out an Yveltal in 1 shot with Volcanion or Volcanic Heat. But then on the flip side, if you're going at something like Darkrai EX, Muscle Band is more preferable just because, you know, Darkrai has 180 hit points, so you need to do that extra 10 damage in some cases. So I definitely like the split here. Both are good for different reasons, but we're opting to lean more on to Fury Belt just because we get that nice 40 hit point bonus with it too. Okay, and then rounding out our tools is going to be 2 Floatstone. So we keep saying our Pokemon have really clunky retreat costs, and Floatstone is just a way to help get around that. So it's a tool card. Whenever you attach it to one of your Pokemon, it gives them a free retreat. And for the last of our trainer cards, we're playing 3 Scorched Earth. So since we are trying to blacksmith most turns of the game, we do need other ways to supplement our draw power. So Scorched Earth, it's a stadium. Whenever you discard a fire energy from your hand for its effect, you get to draw 2 cards. So that's kind of cool. You can discard some fire energy, reuse it with Blacksmith or Volcanion. And then after that, we are playing, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fire energy. So seems like a good bit of energy. It is, but we do want to always have fire energy to throw in the discard. You know, we always want to have extra energy to use Volcanion EX Steam Up. So I definitely like a high count of energy in this deck. If you're not careful, you can actually run out of energy just because you have so many different ways you can get rid of it. But luckily we can reuse it with Blacksmith and Volcanion. But yeah guys, that is our first attempt at a Volcanion EX deck. It seems decent in our testing so far. I'm still, me personally, I don't know how sold I am on it right now. I think it has a couple of iffy matchups, but it does also have some good ones. Like, you definitely beat Metal. I think that's a given. You can beat Dark decks just because you can one-shot their EXs. And most of the time, I feel like Dark decks will end up two-shotting you. But yeah, so it definitely seems like a good deck. I am just not sure if it's going to win Worlds or anything. But we'll see. I could be wrong. But I do like it so far. I think it's worth testing more. We might just have to iron out a few kinks. But I definitely like this deck. I think it's good. I do think it's worth playing. But yeah, guys, that is it for our deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed this. As usual, feel free to like and subscribe. And if there's anything you guys would change in this list, as usual, feel free to let us know. Because, like I said, this is our first attempt at it. So we might have forgotten some things. Oh, actually, speaking of which, I lied. We forgot Escape Rope in our video. I forget what we changed this to. Oh yeah, I think originally we played 2 Lysander and we did cut one for an Escape Rope right after that video. So that is the only difference between this and the list we used in the testing rounds video. But anyways, guys, and also don't forget to check out our merch at rarecandytcg.com. And we are also doing a 10% off sale on some of our items on there, so definitely go and check that out too. But yeah, guys, that is it. I appreciate you watching, and we will see you for the next one, okay?